Hey, it's Kaylin, and I was so thankful for all of your feedback about my idea, and this is just the end of a pretty long day, but I was just really excited to go ahead and film my first video, and I thought a good place to start would be to share the story of my mom and my dad and how they passed, but true to the idea and the theme of silver lining. I don't want to spend too much time on the way that they passed, but rather the type of people that they were. And I'd love to hear about your loved ones as well. So in 2001, my mother passed away from a brain aneurysm, and her period of time from when she had the aneurysm to when she actually passed was, I think, just about 2 weeks, and I was 13 years old. My sister was 8, and then my younger sister was 8, and my older sister was 15. So as you can imagine, it was brutal. The type of person that my mom was, though, and, unfortunately there are a lot of things I forget, but from what I do remember, she was a really, my sisters and I always say she was a really mushy mom, meaning she was very emotional and loving, and not a day went by when we didn't feel her love. And she did things like, on the last day of school, we were allowed to have ice cream sundaes for breakfast, and spoiled us rotten, and she loved us and she loved our dad very, very much, and we knew that very through and through every day. And then just actually 14 years later, my father passed away, and he passed away from non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and his very brave battle was very short too. He got diagnosed, I think only like 3 weeks prior to passing, so he put up a very, very brave fight too. And I won't get into too many of the details because it was pretty tough, of course, as you can imagine. But anybody that knew my dad described him as a gentleman. I mean, he was a class act. When my mom passed away, he was, many dads and many men in that situation wouldn't know what to do with 3 girls. But he knew exactly what to do, love us even more and teach us how to be, good people. He was a mom and a dad to us. Definitely was my best friend, my running partner, the voice of honesty when I needed it, and just all around a really genuine person. Anybody that met him knew that, he just had this demeanor about him that everybody knew that he was just a good guy, just a really good guy. He was really important played a really important role in my husband Tony's life. They became quick friends, and, my husband looked up to him an incredible amount. And my dad was around for 1 year, just under 1 year with my son, and got to be a grandpap before he passed away. Which was one of the biggest joys, I think, of his life, just, from the outside looking in. And so I try to talk about those positive things all the time with Giovanni and Amelia, and it's a little bit harder for their grandmother that passed away, of course, than their pap, because I remember a lot more things about my dad than I do my mom. But long story short, I try to talk about them and their positive aspects as much as possible. So that's their story, and I'd love to hear your story of someone you love that is no longer with you. If you want to share, you can put it in the comments, and if you don't want to, you can just silently remember them. But I find that talking about them is a way of celebrating them and finding the silver lining.